Okay, so this story is insane. In 1998, two college students tried to sell their little search engine to the biggest internet company in the world. The price? $1 million. The company said no. They actually said, "Your product is too good. It would hurt our business." I'm not joking. That's what they said. A few years later, the same company came back and tried to buy that search engine. But now the price was $5 billion. And this time, the search engine said no. The company that kept getting it wrong was Yahoo. The search engine was Google. And this whole mess, the rejections, the bad timing, the terrible decisions, it destroyed Yahoo completely. Now, I know what you're thinking, Yahoo. Really? It's that old email thing? But back in the 1990s, Yahoo was everything. Seriously, if you used the internet in 1997 or 1998, Yahoo was probably the first thing you saw when you opened your browser. It was your homepage, everyone's homepage. Here's how it started. In 1994, two guys at Stanford University, Jerry Yang and David Philo, noticed that the internet was growing fast, but it was a total mess. Thousands of websites, but no way to find anything. Imagine a huge library where all the books are just thrown on the floor. No shelves, no signs, nothing. So Yang and Philo did something simple. They made a list. They organized websites into categories. News here, sports there, entertainment over there. They called it Yahoo. The name, by the way, officially stood for yet another hierarchically organized oracle. But honestly, it was just a fun, weird word that people remembered easily. And that mattered, because it took off fast. By the late 1990s, Yahoo was worth over $125 billion. They had hundreds of millions of users. They were everywhere: email, news, weather, shopping, finance. If you needed something on the internet, you went to Yahoo first. The people running the company were feeling pretty confident. Maybe too confident. They looked around and thought, "We are the internet. Nobody can touch us." That kind of thinking is dangerous. It's because right around the same time, two other guys at Stanford working just across campus actually were building something that would make Yahoo irrelevant. Larry Page and Sergey Brin were PhD students at Stanford Computer Science. They were both a little nerdy, a little obsessive, and very, very smart. Funny thing, they actually didn't like each other when they first met. They argued about almost everything. But they both shared one obsession. They wanted to organize information. All of it. The entire internet. And they got interested in one specific problem. Why were search engines so bad? Because they really were bad. Back then, if you searched for something online, you got a mess of random links. Half of them had nothing to do with your question. The other half were spam. Finding useful information was painful. Larry and Sergey came up with a different approach. They built a system called PageRank, and the basic idea was actually pretty simple. Instead of just looking at the words on a page, their system checked how many other websites linked to that page. If a lot of other sites pointed to the same page, that page was probably important, useful, worth showing first. It was kind of like a popularity contest, but for websites. And it worked really well. Their search results were faster, cleaner, and way more accurate than anything else out there. They called the project Google. But here's the thing. Larry and Sergey didn't actually want to run a company. They were students. They wanted to finish their PhDs and go back to academia. So they figured, why not just sell the technology to someone who's already in the business? And who was the biggest name in the business? Yahoo! So in 1998, Larry and Sergey went to Yahoo and made their offer. We built a better search engine. You can have it. $1 million. $1 million. For what would become the most valuable technology company on earth. And Yahoo said no. But not because they thought Google was bad. Actually, they could see that Google's search was better than their own. The problem was, they didn't want better search. Okay? I know that sounds ridiculous. But there was a logic to it. A really bad logic, but still, Yahoo made money from banner ads. Those big, colorful advertisements all over their website. The more time people spent clicking around Yahoo, the more ads they saw, and the more money Yahoo made. A fast, accurate search engine would do the opposite. People would find what they needed in 5 seconds and leave. So Yahoo basically looked at Google and said, "Your search engine works too well. People would leave our site too quickly. No thanks." They turned down a better product because it was too good. Larry and Sergey left with nothing. But instead of giving up, they dropped out of Stanford, rented a garage in California, and started building Google on their own. One of their first investors was Andy Bechtolsheim, the co-founder of Sun Microsystems. He wrote them a check for $100,000 before Google was even a real company. Some people can see the future. Yahoo wasn't one of them. Fast forward a few years. Google is exploding. By 2002, millions of people are using it every day. The word Google is becoming a verb. People aren't saying search the internet anymore. They're saying Google it. And the search results page, it was almost empty. It's just a white background, a logo, and a search box. No news, no weather, screaming at you from every corner. Just a box. Type what you want, get what you need. It was the opposite of Yahoo's homepage, which by this point looked like a newspaper had exploded on your screen. And over at Yahoo, someone finally wakes up. Yahoo's CEO, Terry Semel, looks at the numbers and realizes we made a huge mistake. We need to buy Google now. So he picks up the phone, he starts negotiations. Months of meetings, lawyers, spreadsheets, back and forth. Yahoo offers $3 billion. Larry and Sergey listen. Then they say $5 billion. And Semel thinks, that's too much. $5 billion for a search engine? No way. He walks away. 3 years earlier, he could have had Google for $1 million. Now he's saying no to $5 billion. 2 years after that, Google goes public on the stock market. Its value on day one. Over $20 billion. 4 times what Yahoo refused to pay. After that, Google just kept going. They launched Gmail, and suddenly Yahoo Mail felt old and cramped. Yahoo gave you something like 4 megabytes of storage, which meant you had to constantly delete old emails to make room for new ones. Gmail launched with 1 gigabyte. That was 250 times more. People couldn't believe it. They thought it was a joke at first. It wasn't. They built Google Maps. Before that, if you needed directions, you printed them out from MapQuest, and half the time they were wrong. Google Maps changed everything. They bought YouTube, which nobody thought was worth much at the time. They paid $1.65 billion for it in 2006, and people said they were crazy. YouTube is now worth well over $100 billion. They developed Android, the operating system that now runs on billions of phones worldwide. And through all of it, Google figured out something that Yahoo never did. You don't make money by trapping people on your website. You make money by being so useful that people come back every single day willingly. And while they're there, you show them a small, smart ad that actually relates to what they're looking for. Yahoo tried to be a walled garden. Google became the open road. Today, Alphabet, Google's parent company, is worth over $2 trillion. Yahoo could have owned all of that for $1 million. And look, if the Google thing were Yahoo's only mistake, that would already be bad enough. But they kept going. In 2006, they tried to buy Facebook, offered about $1 billion. Mark Zuckerberg was apparently close to saying yes. Some reports say that if Yahoo had just bumped the offer up to $1.1 billion, Facebook's board would have pushed the deal through. Yahoo didn't budge. Deal fell apart. Facebook is now worth over $1 trillion. Then, in 2008, Microsoft came along and offered to buy Yahoo itself for $44.6 billion. This was after Yahoo had already started losing ground. It was a generous offer. Really generous. Yahoo said no. They thought they were worth more. They weren't. Not even close. What followed was one of the most painful slow-motion collapses in tech history. The company went through 6 CEOs in 9 years. 6. Each one had a different plan. Each one failed. In 2013, one of those CEOs, Marissa Mayer, who actually came from Google, by the way, bought a blogging platform called Tumblr for $1.1 billion. The idea was to attract younger users, make Yahoo cool again. There were magazine covers, big interviews. Everyone was watching. It didn't work. Tumblr lost most of its value within a couple of years. $1 billion basically gone. By this point, Yahoo didn't even know what it was anymore. A news site, a tech company, an email service, an advertising platform. Nobody could answer that question, including the people running the company. In 2017, Verizon, a phone company, bought Yahoo for $4.8 billion. Just to be clear about the math here, 1,998, Yahoo is worth $125 billion. Google offers to sell for $1 million. It's 2017. Yahoo sells itself for less than $5 billion. The king of the internet ended up as a footnote inside a phone company. When I look at this story, the thing that gets me isn't the money. It's the pattern. Yahoo didn't make one mistake. They made the same mistake over and over. They saw something new and promising, Google, Facebook, even the Microsoft deal, and every single time they couldn't pull the trigger. With Google, they said, it's too good for us. With Facebook, they said, we won't pay a little extra. With Microsoft, they said, we're worth more than that. They were wrong every time. And I think the reason is simple. Yahoo was so focused on protecting what they already had that they couldn't see what was right in front of them. They were playing defense when they should have been playing offense. Google saw the internet as something open, a place to help people find what they need. Yahoo saw it as something to control, a place to keep people inside. The company that helped people won. The company that tried to trap people lost. That's the whole story, really. Okay, by the way, if you think this kind of thing only happens to tech companies, think again. It happens everywhere. In sports, in music, in politics. Someone sees the future coming and decides it's safer to stay where they are. It's never safer to stay where you are. So what do you think? Is there a small company right now that the big guys are ignoring? Something that could be the next Google? Drop your answer in the comments. I'm curious. And if you like this story, subscribe and hit the like button.